Hey, good afternoon, viewers. This is Brett McKay here. I am live and alive. So, yeah, I'm new to YouTube. This is my new YouTube channel. So, if you like what you see, please hit subscribe. I'd love to have you on board with us. What I wanted to do right now is share some really exciting news. I've been working on this novel for it's probably say about 2 years, writing it, researching it, rewriting, editing. I've been doing a lot of work on it. Then I've been looking for a publishing house to publish it, and I finally received an offer from Red Adept Publishing. They are the house that's published two of my other novels. Nobody does a better job than they do. They have a great team of editors, from line editors to content editors. I work with both of those, and between those two, the help I receive from other authors in this group, and from my publisher, and from the fantastic team that puts the covers together. It's really a team effort. It just once a book comes out, it is top quality. Nobody does it better than Red Adept Publishing, and there's a lot of great writers on there, a lot of great books. So this new book that I've been working on, it's gone through a couple of different titles. I finally landed on this. It's temporary still. It's possible it could change, but right now it's called The Devil's Dance. So I'm going to read a little description about what it's about, and then we'll discuss a little bit more about it. Um, so let's see. I was just going to read the little synopsis. Chase Gray wants to reconnect with his daughter Oakley, who he hasn't seen for 18 months, and picks her up for a week-long getaway. Oakley is 14 and isn't keen on spending a week with her estranged dad, and her snarky attitude is proof of the penance she's making him pay. In the small town of Parowan, an evil entity haunts Toko, directing him to murder his foster parents and begin an onslaught of revenge on a world that's wronged him. He begins by leading a band of renegades into the mountains to practice dark magic and feed young girls to the gods of a parallel universe. While Chase and his daughter stop at a store for supply, Toko's men raid the store and kidnap Oakley. Now Chase and a team of local volunteers must track down Toko's group and rescue her before the blood moon, will she be sacrificed in a twisted take on an ancient Native American ritual. So I've always wanted to write, I'm a big fan of Westerns. Obviously, this has a very Western feel. It does take place in modern day. And I picked the southern mountains of Utah. I live here in Utah, very familiar with them. It's a beautiful spot. It's a great area to set up a good chase, a good thriller. Um, and I just like the idea of a team having to get on a set of horses to go into the rough parts of the mountains to track them down, and of course they run into all sorts of trouble. Um, I put a lot of supernatural stuff in it, mostly along Native American folklore, like skinwalkers, wendigos, those type of things. So you will get a good feel of a lot of that stuff. It starts out as a really good thriller, which it is, but it slowly twists into something a lot more darker, a lot more uh, supernatural and otherworldly. So it is a full adventure. It also explores the dynamic between a father, an estranged father, and his daughter trying to reconnect, and it turned out to be a really good story, a fun experience. The other part I wanted to explore is Native Americans. So I focus on the Paiute Native Americans, which were really big here in Utah as well as Nevada, as well as further south and from here. Um, but as I was looking into this, some of the history, this is what I found about the ghost dance. So the ghost dance was a real dance that a native Paiute, his name is Wovoka, he's also known as Jack Wilson. In the late 19th century, there was a spiritual movement, and the ghost dance began in Nevada in 1889 by a Paiute named Voka, or Jack Wilson. He prophesied the extinction of white people and the return of the old time life and superiority of the Indians. The proper practice of the dance would reunite the living with the spirits of the dead, bring the spirits to fight on their behalf, and end American westward expansion, and bring peace, prosperity, and unity to Native American peoples, not just the Paiutes. This was something that he had planned and prophesied something for all Native Americans throughout the whole country. And as things started to really pick up, and a lot of the tribes were listening to this and wanting to practice it, it scared the government, and everything kind of culminated and ended at the old event on at Wounded Knee. So if you're familiar with any of that, so a lot of the history is a lot of fun. But the two things that stood out to me is returning back to the old life, and I thought, what a cool idea! What if we had this Native American Paiute that was raised in a lot of foster care, a lot of hate, a lot of violence, and he himself has been raised to have a lot of hate towards the white man, and he decides to, he gets a group of his other Paiute friends, and they start to form a band of sorts, and he teaches them all the history that he's learned and what his father taught him, and his idea is to take them up into the mountains and start to live like the old Native Americans, off the land and hunting and all those kind of things. I thought, what a cool idea. So he does that, but obviously his father was a shaman and practiced dark magic, which obviously Toko, he's the villain. So he starts practicing the dark magic, and with the dark magic ends up opening something, a very evil type of spirit starts to taunt him and also convince him of what he needs to do. So he convinces Toko that there's more to the ghost dance that he needs to do, which is sacrificing young girls, doing some blood sacrificing. So that's what ends up starting to happen. So I thought it was a lot of fun to kind of delve into that. And also just wanted to, pay respects to the Paiute Native Americans as well as all Native Americans. So it was a little touchy, bringing a villain like this, but he's definitely balanced out with a lot of really heroes of the Paiutes, and make a very clear distinction, between the two. So this was a lot of fun. So I finally got accepted. I don't have my contract yet. It'll probably come in about a week, but I was just excited. I wanted to share. So in order for it to actually come to fruition and actually become published, it's going to be a while, but I imagine it will hopefully take probably be done before the end of this year. I'm hoping like September or October. That's typically what ends up happening with my books getting published around then. But it all depends on how soon my editor can start working with me, which might not be till March or April. So I go with my content editor. So we go through the whole story to make sure that everything is cohesive. Do I need to elaborate on anything? Am I missing something? Do more characters need development? Those kind of things. She really helps me work through all that with me. And a lot of times I end up having to do a lot of rewriting, a lot of revisions. And sometimes it turns out great. My first publication with Reddit at Publishing was The Other Side of Elsewhere. You may have read it. If you're a fan that follows me. If not, you can look for that on my website, brettmckaybooks.com. You can also find it on Amazon or anywhere digital books are sold. But it was a great story. What I loved about it is it does take place in the summer of 1982, following a group of boys, 12 years old, and what they're doing through the summer. Uh, and of course, a lot of strange things happen, and mysteries, and people start missing, and he tries to help solve the mystery of this abandoned house called the Crooked House, and with the strange inhabitants that moved in. Um, what was ironic about this story is I did write it well before Stranger Things came out. When Stranger Things came out, I started watching that, and obviously I love that. That show is great. But man, it really is so close, a lot like my book. It's different enough. So, the other side of Elsewhere, if you like Stranger Things, you definitely would like the other side of Elsewhere. But it is its own original story. So it was a lot of fun. But when I was going through the content editing with that, I had a character that was this boy. He had a crush on this girl who kind of became his girlfriend, but she wasn't in it too much. But she did end up towards the end. He needed to kind of help save her. And my editor said, I just really love this girl. I'd like to know a lot more about her and why is she kind of feisty? What is she kind of like this? I think it'd be a lot of fun. So I thought, you know what? You're right. As I started thinking about it, I wanted to do that. So I went back and I started putting her more in a lot more of the chapters. And then I wrote complete brand new chapters, including her and this 12-year-old boy. And I tell you, it just enhanced the story so much better. She became one of my favorite characters of the whole story. She really commands the screen, if you will, or the pages. So content editing is a huge deal, and it really helps a lot. A lot of people don't do content editing. They just go straight to line editing. Nothing wrong with that. But if you have both, you're going to make a really good quality book. So after that, after I go through content editing, I go through line editing, where we literally go line by line and sometimes even word by word and look at each sentence, see how it's structured. Does it need to be rearranged? Do we need? Are there better words to put in there that will give the vision, that will describe it better and quicker and more cohesive? Because really, by the end of getting done with all the rewriting and all the revisions and the editing, what you want is you want a book that feels like the writer wrote everything all in one take. You just don't miss a beat, and it's all goes together, and it just works out, really well. You end up getting really good quality work out of it. So I'm really excited to get into this. I worked really hard on this book, did a lot of research, and it delves into a lot of fun stuff. So I will keep all of you updated, of course, on how that's going and when it is released. Meanwhile, I do have 6 other books out there published right now that you can find. The Intruders is a brand new one of mine. That if you like, it's like a mix between Taken and The Thing. So obviously supernatural again, but this one is such a thriller. It's fast paced, a lot of action, a lot of horror, a lot of gore, a lot of a lot of everything I like. So I think if you're someone who likes those kind of things, like reading horror, like reading thrillers, supernatural elements, that's what I love, and you'll find that as well. And thank you for joining me on this live chat. This is my first live streaming chat ever, so I may be a little clunky, but it's a lot of fun to do this, and I will chat with you all later. Thank you.